It's the race we've all been waiting for. They're headed by B4 Salmon, making his fifth bid for Gold Cup glory. Andrew McNamara, 16-1. Bobbin at 100-1 for Joe Tizard. Kane Brake and David Casey at 22-1. Tony McCoy rides Exotic Dancer at 5-1. Barry Garrity on last year's third Forget the Past at 20-1. Halcon Genelade for the Robert Thornton Alan King team, 25-1. Idle Talk and Jason Maguire at 40-1. Then the favourite Kauto Star, 5-4, Ruby Walsh. Kingscliff at 40-1, Robert Walford. Lamy for Mick Fitzgerald at 16-1. One of the big outsiders, Marble Garden, 200-1, John Kington. Monkerhostin at 25's Richard Johnson. My Will, Sam Thomas at 14-1. Neptune Collonge at 50-1 under Liam Hurd. Racing Demon, the non-runner there, ran yesterday. State of Play, Paul Maloney's mount at 7-1. You can have 200-1 about Sibelius Darte for James Davis. The Listener and Daryl Jacob at 14-1. And Turpin Green under Tony Dobbin makes up the field, a 40-1 chance.
First run in 1924, 26 favourites in 78 runnings have won it, and after Wichita Lineman, so many bets running up on Kauto Star. Wichita Lineman, by the way, with the sponsors, is 10-1 for next year's Ladbrokes World Hurdle. But they've taken the 13-8, the 6-4, the 11-8, now 5-4 Kauto Star. Chronicle bookmakers are standing it for over €1 million. The Freddie Williams, no great big bets have gone into Freddie Williams for Kauto Star. There's not a lack of confidence behind Exotic Dancer, it's the weight of money purely for Kauto Star that's pushed out Exotic Dancer out to 5-1. Female Kauto Star, that's all they're talking about.
Phenomenal funds on the exchanges for this horse. Over 5 million matched on Betfair alone, 2 million of which is on Kauto Star, more so than was on Denman earlier in the week. This is an enormous gamble coming for Kauto Star. Other horses that have been back, but not in any way near the scale of Kauto Star. Each way money for Turpin Green, and also some money place only for Halcyon Genelade.
And State of Play is touching 8-1. The Hennessy's winner, State of Play.
Well, a terrific occasion in prospect, and it's only a few minutes away. The crowd beginning to take their positions on the lawn. The horse is starting to circle to form a parade. Ted, start us off.
Yeah, B4 Salmon. He's the best staying chaser in Ireland over the last 3 or 4 seasons. He hasn't managed to win a Gold Cup. He just doesn't perform here. But if he got his old jumping right, he could be a bit of each way value at 16-1. He's a class horse, 10 grade ones.
Bobbin has always looked to be a potential Gold Cup type. Won nicely up at Bangor first time out, and then he was disappointed in heavy ground at Newcastle, I thought, last time, behind another horse that he takes on today.
3 is Kane Brake. He'll be the first saddler as well, as I say, to win a Cheltenham Gold Cup if he does it. But he's a good handicapper. He won the Tri-Town under well, and then he came back and won the Paddy Power Christmas. Thomas kept him fresh and well. I don't think he rates him in the same category as Kicking King, but he's not without an each way chance.
Exotic Dancer, much has been made of his Cheltenham record, and certainly over fences is impressive. In total, it's 4 from 7. He's made phenomenal improvement. He looks in great form. I don't think he's quite the class of the favourite, but he's there to take advantage if he doesn't get round.
And 5 directly behind him is Forget the Past, Barry Garrity. 3rd in the race last year, a good horse in his own right, but Michael O'Ryan is always rated in Compliance, who was his #1 Gold Cup horse, as his best horse for this race, and he didn't make it. This horse has taken his place. He's bound to run a good race again. If he runs as well as last year, everyone will be happy.
Difficult to keep Alan King's horses out of the frame at this meeting so far, and Halcon Genelade, well, he doesn't owe anybody anything. He's already won the Welsh National. He's got blinkers on for the first time today. I know that Alan thought that he hadn't quite done enough work on his last run here.
Idle Talk represents Trevor Hemmings, and Donald McCain looks in really good shape. This is his first run for Donald. He was useful handicapper for Tom George. He's got to improve a lot to whip figure here, though.
Really looking forward to watching this horse run again. He's won 5 off the bounce this season. He's on to a £1 million bonus from Betfair if he wins, plus the prize money, of course. Lots of quality. 5-4 favourite Kauto Star.
Kingscliff is the fastest ever winner of the Fox Hunters. Looked a fine young horse when doing that. He's shown bits and pieces of top quality form since, but also some baffling performances. He's better than his odds if he's on a going day, but he's hard to trust.
This is Lamy, 4th last year on ground. I thought was too quick for him. I think he's a knock-in each way bet. Mick Fitzgerald's won the Gold Cup before in the past, and I think this is as good as ride as he's had round here in terms of how he jumps.
Marble Garden is rated 131 on the basis of the pick of his form in France, but he's been a long way below that on his last 2 starts, including in the champion hurdle the other day. That's why he's 200 to 1.
Monkerhostin, he's 10 now. He's been a good servant. He's run well in this race in the past. Sometimes struggles to get home when the ground's really sticky. I've seen him twice this season, and on neither occasion he looked really wound up, but he does today.
My Will is a smashing handicap chaser. You'd say he was about 10 pounds below real top class, but he's run well every time this season, and he's got outside chances of reaching the frame here.
2 6-year-olds in the field, the 2 youngest horses, Marble Garden and this horse Neptune Collonge, an out-and-out galloper and a stayer. A 3rd string, though, for Paul Nicholls, ridden by Liam Hurd.
State of Play has already provided his trainer Evan Williams with huge headlines this season. He won at Aintree on his final start last year, the Hennessy on his reappearance. He's rocketed up the weights. He needs a career best performance, though, to make the first 3 here. Looks terrific.
James Davis has got a ride round on Sibelius Darte, 200 to 1 shot. Let's hope he keeps out of the way, has a safe round.
Early last season, the listener looked an outstanding novice chaser, but he blotted his copybook on his last 2 starts with 2 falls, including in the Sun Alliance. Rejuvenated this time around, 2 fine efforts in Ireland on his last 2 starts, but he probably won't be able to dominate like he's done on those occasions here.
And finally, Turpin green like Halcon Generaladi's got blinkers on, 40 to 1 now. He beat Exotic Dancer at Carlisle on his first run this season. He's a really talented horse, this. It'll be interesting to see how Tony Dobbin rides him.
The colours of the Gold Cup contenders superimposed on the racecourse. Let's have a look at what lies ahead of them.
There are 2 left-handed courses at Cheltenham. The first 2 days of the meeting will run on the old course, the second 2 on the new course. On the Gold Cup track, there are 22 fences, the first 2 of which are jumped 3 times. They turn into the back straight on their first circuit, and a line of fences down there, a variety of obstacles. Running up to the top of the hill, they meet the first ditch, and then at the top, a plain fence before they head for a total of 4 before they reach the winning post first time. Usually in a Gold Cup, unless you're not travelling, there aren't too many problems for most of the runners. But passing the stands for the first time and bearing left-handed on that final circuit, now is when the sustained pace at top level begins to kick in. They take the water, and you'll see the field probably begin to thin out at this point. 17, 6 from home, a ditch often catches the tiring ones too. 4 from home at the top of the hill, pace is beginning to happen now. The leaders begin to kick away, the stragglers are left toiling. Turning for home, 2 fences still to be jumped and a furlong run in. Yeah, you need speed on the Gold Cup course, but above all, you need plenty of stamina.
And here's the hot favourite. Kauto Star's got the talents. It's up to Ruby Walsh to marshal them round the 3 1/4 miles of the Gold Cup. And the pair got a right cheer as they went round the paddock on their way out from the massed ranks at the top round the winner's enclosure. And every vantage point at Cheltenham Racecourse taken for the race we've anticipated all week. And Kauto Star, a subject of massive public support down in the betting ring. Let's see what the team have come up with on the eye-catcher front. Well, dear old beef or salmon got the vote from the lads in the paddock on course. Forget the Past and My Will were given the tick. And down in the betting ring, Kauto Star they want, and Exotic Dancer hoofing out in the market. Exchanges Kauto Star, no thanks, Exotic Dancer or State of Play.
Absolutely phenomenal, the betting rings. I don't think I've ever seen scenes like it. Tidbit for you though, Totesport Cheltenham Gold Cup, the last 6 winners have all been in the first 3 in the betting, and all the punters are concentrating on is the number 1 in the betting, Kauto Star. Amazing, over 10 million traded on the exchanges alone on the race. I don't think I've seen a race ever bigger than that, and majority of that, 2/3 of that is on Kauto Star, so it's phenomenal, man.
But there are people still prepared to lay
There's
it
that
at
many
this kind
amount
of
of
price.
people to lay
Exotic
it.
Dancer was a 5 to 1 chance. Chronicle have laid a £100,000 bet at 5. It's now into 9 to 2, but 5 to 4. Absolutely solid, this Kauto Star. I think they'll be carrying the bookmakers out on stretchers if Kauto Star can win.
Just got to give Barry He's got to give Barry Geraghty some water as he just comes past me here. We're just trying to get him some. He's pretty dry, sorry about that. That's what we were doing. We've got the listener here behind us. Looking great. Best of luck to you. And just as they walk around here, totally different vibe for the start of this race than there is any other one in the day. Just had Paul Maloney coming and showing state of play this fence and really revving him up, giving him a pat. Just said, come on, lad. All the boys really focused, really trying to do right by their horses, because this, as much as anywhere, is where it can be won and lost.
Yeah, the pre-race vibe, really serious, intense, not an ounce of relaxation about it. This is the Cheltenham Gold Cup, and the man to call it for us, Simon Holt.
Nerve-jangling moments, the starter just trying to get them organised. They make their way out now. And they're away. They're off. The Tote Sport Cheltenham Gold Cup of 2007, heading towards the first fence. And up ahead, it's Idle Talk in the green cap, followed by Neptune Collonge, the rail, Kingscliff towards the centre, and My Will out wide in the red sleeve jacket. Kauto Star is on the inside, far side, purple cap, held up about 5 from the end by Ruby Walsh as they go towards the second fence. And now B4 Salmon comes through to dispute it with Idle Talk. Kingscliff is third, passing the stands, followed by Neptune Collonge and the listener and My Will. The lightest grey in the field, Bobbin, is about 7th, then wider, Forget the Pass, Lamy in between runners. State of Play up the inside, Turpin Green out wide, then Halcon Genelade. Kauto Star clinging to the fence from Monkerhostin, then Cane Break towards the rear, Marble Garden, Sibelius Darte, and Tony McCoy has got Exotic Dancer anchored in last place, about 15 lengths behind the leader, Idle Talk, as they run towards the third fence, and all safely over there. Idle Talk, B4 Salmon, Kingscliff, the grey is the listener in the centre. 3 greys here, all bidding to follow Desert Orchids example in 1989. Bobbin and Neptune Collonge, the other two all close up. My Will looking towards the wide outside. On the extreme left is Turpin Green as they head towards the next. Idle Talk and B4 Salmon, they come very close there, and down at that was Idle Talk. Idle Talk unseats Jason Maguire there at the open ditch. They head towards the next plain fence. B4 Salmon, Kingscliff, My Will, with on the outside Bobbin, back on the inside Neptune Collonge, the grey and the yellow colours, followed by the listener, and then Marble Garden, Lamy in the green and gold hoops. Further back, Halcon Genelade and Forget the Path, another open ditch. Kauto Star jumping in on the inside. Kingscliff wasn't too clever there, as they now head towards another plain fence, preceded by the loose horse Idle Talk, and it's B4 Salmon on the right, Bobbin on the left. In the centre, My Will from Forget the Past and Neptune Collonge as they cleared that one, followed in behind them by Kingscliff, who's lost a place or two. State of Play in the blue jacket against the fence, moves into about 6th or 7th place now with the listener wider out. Wider still is Turpin Green, and then Forget the Past and Marble Garden on the wide outside as they jump this next plain fence. And Kauto Star remains held up just in behind the main body of the field towards the inside, and Exotic Dancer is still the back marker with out the back Sibelius Darte, and Monkerhostin is also towards the rear. Downhill to the next, B4 Salmon has the advantage, running in this race for the 5th time. B4 Salmon ridden much more prominently today, didn't jump that fluently though. Neptune Collonge right on terms, with also out wide Bobbin, and in the red sleeves My Will. Forget the Past is racing very keenly. State of Play, then Kingscliff, followed by the listener. Lamy out wide is Turpin Green, followed by Halcon Genelade. Kauto Star back on the inside of the field as they now make their way towards the next 2 plain fences at the end of a circuit of the course. And it's B4 Salmon that leads the way. B4 Salmon leads to Neptune Collonge in 2nd place. Then Forget the Past, close up with Kingscliff, who's recovered having lost a few places. State of Play in a very good position up the inside. My Will wider with Bobbin and Turpin Green. Kauto Star, a lovely jump there up the inside. in about 9th or 10th, quietly in the hands of Ruby Walsh as they run past the stands. B4 Salmon, Neptune, Colonge 1 and 2. 3 lengths to My Will and Forget the Past and State of Play, and then Turpin Green. Back then in behind them is the Listener, followed by Kingscliff and then Marble Garden out wide of Lamy. Kauto Star the inside, Monkerhostin next from Bobbin, who's lost ground. Kane Break out wide, Exotic Dancer beginning to improve slightly, and then Sibelius Darte and Halcon Genelade as they jump the first down the back straight and all safely over. Kauto Star travelling well, the favourite. It's all about to unfold though as they go towards the water jump, and it's Neptune Colonge by a half length to B4 Salmon clearing the water. Forget the Pass landed in 3rd place there. My Will is still handy, so too Turpin Green. Marble Garden on the far side. The Listener's not far off the leaders either. State of Play, and then behind these Kauto Star, followed by Kingscliff, and then back in the field still is Exotic Dancer as they jump the next. Neptune Colonge rather climbed over the fence there, but remains the leader. From in 2nd place now the Listener, the other grey, then My Will, Turpin Green. Forget the Pass, B4 Salmon having been headed, it remains in touch though as they jump this open ditch. Kauto Star following B4 Salmon. Marble Garden was the faller. Bobbin is tailing off with Sibelius Darte as they go towards the next plain fence, and it's still Neptune Colonge from the Listener, followed by State of Play. Forget the Pass, Turpin Green running a big race in behind these, then My Will getting a bit outpaced from Lamy. Kauto Star right of frame, white-faced Kauto Star moving forward into about 6th place now, and Exotic Dancer is following him under a patient McCoy, jumping 4 out. Neptune Colonge lands ahead. It's Neptune Colonge then from Forget the Pass, State of Play the Listener. Turpin Green in the white sleeves towards the outside, stalked by Kauto Star, then Exotic Dancer still improving from Monkerhostin and My Will as they jump the 3rd last in the Gold Cup. Neptune Colonge led the way just. He led, but there's plenty of potential challengers. Forget the Pass, State of Plays in there fighting the Lister, there's not much room. Turpin Green, Exotic Dancer up the inside. Ruby's now pulled Kauto Star out wider, the white-faced favourite as they swing for home. They've got 2 fences left to jump. Neptune Colonge and Turpin Green. Here comes Kauto Star towards the outside. Exotic Dancer comes through with State of Play as well as they go to the 2nd last, and Kauto Star jumps to the lead. He quickened up beautifully there and now kicks away from Exotic Dancer between the final 2 fences. Kauto Star, the final fence. The racing world holds its breath, or he rushed through it. He got away with it. Exotic Dancer 4 or 5 lengths down in 2nd. Then Turpin Green. Kauto Star from Exotic Dancer up the hill. Kauto Star chased by Exotic Dancer and Turpin Green. It's Kauto Star in front. Kauto Star steals the show and wins the Gold Cup from Exotic Dancer in 2nd. Turpin Green is 3rd. Back in 4th, it might have been just Kane Break from State of Play. Then Neptune Colonge, Lamy, Monkerhostin, Kingscliff, the Listener, Forget the Past. Then My Will and B4 Salmon out of luck again, and pulling up Sibelius Darte. A beautifully judged ride. Paul Nichols, the winning trainer, accepting the congratulations here. Ruby Walsh, he cut every corner before pulling wide for a clear run rounding the final turn. This was the anxious moment at the last fence. Here's where he normally gets it wrong. He wasn't great again, was he? But once more, he managed to find a leg. He had the race won at the time. Exotic Dancer wasn't helped by a loose horse on the run-in, but the favourite has won.
Ruby Walsh, the biggest smile on his face, and that tells the story. Congratulations. What was that like?
He's some horse there again,
Isn't he just?
That's great. It's great he turned up and did it, because I think he's a wonderful horse. And he had his knockers, but everyone has their opinion.
Yeah.
And they're entitled to their opinion. We thought he's a wonderful horse. He is a wonderful horse, and it's brilliant for everyone. It's what I always dreamed of, and I'm going to go and enjoy it. He's a star.
Enjoy it. What was that last fence like?
I didn't even think about it.
Go for it, enjoy the moment.
Well, this man told us how good he was, how he could jump, what he could do, and if anyone should feel vindicated, it's Paul Nichols, and I should think thrilled.
thrilled. And I have never, in the time I've been racing, heard so much rubbish talked about him. Honestly, he's won 6 on the trot and all the races he won. Tingle Creek had beat the champion chase win, and there's all these doubters. Very, very good horse. And what I knew at Newbury, he was half fit. We just ticked him over. Since then, work. He was relaxed today. We had him right on the day, and that's what we wanted him today, not at Newbury.
That's why you're a trainer and they're not, dear.
Yeah, exactly.
But what about Ruby's ride? You said you didn't watch all of it.
I didn't. We had a chat this morning. We knew what we were going to do. I said, Ruby, take no notice of what anybody says. You go out there and do what you do best. You've got belief in the horse. I have. I said, he's fitter than he's ever been in his life. Have faith in him, and that was all I said, and I just left it to him.
And Clive Smith, a brave owner who's really sort of gone with this horse.
Well, he's left it to us. I've had to say a few times, look, Clive, take no notice of what anyone else says and leave it to us. And he's been brilliant.
How's it feel?
Brilliant, unbelievable. I mean, I cannot tell you how nerve-wracking the last month's been.
It's been some festival for you.
It has, and everyone's had their doubters about Denman and now Kauto Star, but they're good horses, and we got it right on the day.
He who laughs last.
Exactly.
Well, Ruby Walsh milking the crowd, and deservedly so. He's a hugely popular and outstanding rider, but his dad was champion amateur, as brave and as tough as teak. But Ted, you're like an old jelly when Ruby's riding a fancied one.
Yeah, and I remember when Comanche Cork got beat here by Best Mate, I said, like, Ruby'd probably end up winning the Gold Cup. I'll never win one, and I'm glad he has. He's a fine rider, and I'm absolutely delighted.
Well done.
Exhilaration, that is the only word down in the ring, and despondency with the bookmakers. Kauto Star has landed some whopping bets. Favourite for so long, despite the detractors, back from 7-4 this morning, returned the 5-4 favourite to give Paul Nicholls his second win in the race, Seymour Business 8 years ago, and the first for Ruby Walsh. The runner-up, Exotic Dancer, ran so bravely, not good enough, the 9-2 second favourite. Turpin Green was third at 40-1, and you won't get paid in the fourth, Monkerhostin at 25-1, and Kauto Star, the 27th favourite in 79 runnings to win it, the fourth in the last 5 years after kicking King and Best Mate twice, Master Oates in 95, Desert Orchid and Dawn Run in the late 80s. You go back to Golden Miller, 4 times a favourite in the 30s, and Easter Hero in 1930 and 1929.
Well, it wasn't quite the affair we thought. Essentially, it became down to speed. This is the last fence. His class has seen him quick and clear. Exotic Dancers tried to follow him. He did get slightly messed around. He's missed the last fence, got in close, but I think Ruby was well ready for him this time. Cocked his ears and just idled a bit, but he's won decisively. Good effort from the second. He was slightly hampered, but it made no odds. He's the best chaser all round this season. He's done it half a dozen times, and it's a pleasure to see him cap it where it counts most.
Well, Bill Smith was saying that in Fluke Waldman's time you wouldn't be allowed to jump around that. In my time in Johnny Franken, you wouldn't be allowed to jump around it. But the thing has changed, and I think they play it to the gallery a bit like the soccer. But it's relief too. This lad has dreamt about this, he said himself, for many, many years. He was here with us when Comanche Court won the Triumph 10 years ago, the same time as Imperial Call won the Gold Cup, and you just get it into your blood here, and the feeling of it all, the electric of this place, it's just wonderful.
He's a bit of a freak, isn't he, Ted, this horse?
He's no oil painting.
He's not.
Mother old hind leg in him, weak old sort of horse.
Absolutely, but to win a Tingle Creek chase over 2 miles, unbeaten in 6 runs, he is a proper champion.
Well, Ruby Walsh and Kauto Star on their way back up through the throng here in the paddock and the winner's enclosure, and a massive public gamble landed, but more than that, much more than that, the importance is we have got the star we were hoping for. Kauto Star's won the Gold Cup.
Well, we'll be playing this over and over again, particularly the man on the right and the guy in the screen there. Giving a really calm ride. Clifford Baker right in the middle of the picture there, who is Paul's head lad, Dan Skelton. And quite interesting. Wonder what would have happened if he'd won the 2-mile champion chase last year. I wonder whether he'd have ever gone down this route, what we'd have seen him. We'll never know. All we know is that he's unbeaten in 6 races, a real champion, and given a champion's ride.
Yeah, he travelled nicely from me. He had it in his head going out that he wouldn't be too far away from Paul Maloney. He said he was a good leper and a good rider and he'd stick close to him. But just things got a bit tight here and he switched wide. Tony is tucked down the inner and gets a grand run, and he probably gets up inside of Turpin Green. He jumps the second last well and maybe gets there a bit quicker. The leader, the loose horse, is still in front and he probably wants to cover his butt a bit. Tony's just going with him there, and Turpin Green leads him down to the second last. He jumps it well, and it's a matter of then. Brilliant left there. He had some wonderful leaps, Jim, through the race, hadn't he?
Oh, didn't he? We caught our breath a couple of times. He was so good. He missed, got in close at the top of the hill, and he gets in close to the last. Other than that, he was great.
Yeah, it wasn't bad though. He just clouted. I mean, I saw Captain Christie with Bobby Beasley here have it and get up and beat the Dickler, you know. And he pricks his old lugs halfway up the run in. He's more in the tank when he wants it, and as hard as AP tries. But the farmers worked out well. He was second to him in the King George.